Thank you so much, Brena, for joining me today on this video series of the Impact Spotlight Award Young Professionals. You are one of the winners for the winter cohort of 2025. Congratulations again. I couldn't think of anybody better to win this.
I appreciate that. It is a huge honor knowing how many incredible people are in this industry. It means a lot to have the award.
Absolutely. Well, we had over 80 nominations in this time around. So, reading through all 80 of the nomination forms, it was pretty incredible just to hear everybody's story. But there was definitely multiple things in your nomination form that really stood out. And it really just is a true testament to how hard you work for not only the industry and Housing Wire, but what you do for your community and just the community of the women in the industry. And we'll definitely touch on that. But yes, congratulations again. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. I am Ashley Arbanek. I am Director of Member Relations with MBA, and I also lead our residential impact young professionals networking group for anybody 40 and under. I will hand it over to you to introduce yourself.
My official title is Senior Director of Events and Subscriptions. I always like rephrase that into saying I really oversee community at Housing Wire. So whether that's from making sure the content on the website, our news and articles are reaching the right target information that our subscribers and our audience wants to know, to is that funneling through to our events? Are we putting on a conference that builds community and connections with top engaging content that you need? So that's kind of my title and background. The story goes that I've commonly told is I joined Housing Wire in 2013. I graduated college early, so I was 20 years old. And I remember interviewing for the job. And at the time, I loved fine. I knew I loved a good budget, which is the industry is so much bigger than that. But when I was sitting in my interview, our editor at the time was, saying words like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, mortgage rates. I had to write an article on mortgage rates when I started, and it all was a foreign language. But what stuck out, which is really cool to see now in action, was the industry in 2013, as everyone knows, was so fresh off the financial crisis. And given my upbringing, my dad was actually in the military. We didn't, fortunately, have a huge hit throughout the financial crisis. So I was coming in not only with, not this intense story of my own of how we were impacted, but also as a journalist should, I was able to approach the market with fresh eyes on, hey, let me just write about the news. Let me talk about this new CFPB that was coming around. Let me talk about where mortgage rates are going, stuff like that. And so it really let me go into at least learning about this industry with a fresh set of eyes. It was still hard. I realized over years how much jargon we have within, but I did that for about probably 5 years. And then I left and I went into a mortgage company called The Money Source. I was there for about 2 years and wrote about, they were correspondent investor, they were a servicer, subservicer, retail and wholesale. And it really let me get my feet wet into all the lines of businesses that a lender can have, which there's a lot that even within that can go. And so I was public relations manager. I helped spotlight our leaders, our executives, whether it was events, awards, content, growing in the market share, stuff like that. And then left there and came back to Housing Wire to really launch what we have now, which is our subscription program. We only had events probably for 2 to 3 years at the time on a much smaller scale. And so since coming back, we really opened or ran into those two lines of business, which is subscriptions, which I'm sure everyone knows now kind of as a part of Housing Wire, along with our giant flagships events.
I feel like you have a really well-rounded knowledge of the industry too, especially working at a company that has all lines of business. That's something I came from a credit union and it was just a credit union. And so I worked there for probably about 5 or 6 years. And then when I came to MBA and then started to take the courses and like really had my eyes opened to like, oh my gosh, there's a warehouse line. I didn't know that warehouse lines existed because I came from a credit union. There's a wholesale channel. Like, what is this? And so, yeah, definitely broadening your knowledge can make you so much better at your job. So it really sounds like that you had kind of best of both worlds there.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think I was talking to someone the other day. It's not a foreign phrase to a lot of people, but that idea of like, a mile wide, but 2 inches deep is kind of what you have to know at Housing Wire to be able to figure out how do I craft this. But I'll kind of be able to, I know there's a lot of unknown or known unknowns in my book, but at least I know what I don't know.
Exactly. Well, I wanted to read something from your nomination form real quick and then we can move on. But they said in your nomination form that she has set a standard for excellence in reporting reporting on and engaging with this industry that makes it a better, more connected place. So I wanted to highlight that just because it really does show the true testament of how hard you work, how well respected you are in the industry, and just the testament of one of the many reasons why we selected you for this award. But then I also wanted to read where it says Brena is most passionate about creating community, particularly for young women entering the industry. She has sought out mentors and then become a mentor herself, developing a network of women that spans the industry. So I wanted you to just touch on real quick your current mentors, and then any past mentors that you have that have really shaped who you are today.
Yeah, I would say I think mentors can like be in an official and unofficial capacity. I've had both,
Hmm.
and I think they're so I'm 100% passionate. I think you need to have a diversity in the people who are speaking to you, whether it's men,
Yes.
women, their titles, because they all bring a different perspective and can get you, you know, different viewpoints into the, into a room, what you need to do to take two steps forward, what you're not
Yeah.
thinking about, show you any blind spots. I was, I don't know, it was like 2, 3 years ago. I was in this like women's cohort to figure out how to grow in your career. And at the same time, I was reading women leadership articles. And one thing that just stuck out to me was the importance of having like a board, like your own board of advisors for your life and your career. And took
Hmm.
from that, and not saying I have a board now, but it really challenged me to one great part of my job is I get to talk to a lot of great leaders every now and then. And if there's time on a call or if the moment presents itself, try to use this as a moment of saying, hey, walking through this, what is this extra thing you could do? Especially the last 3 years of my life, we're walking through being pregnant, having a baby, being pregnant, having a baby. And there's so much there that I've been thankful for. People like Terry, who is now at CoreLogic, she has sat down with me and helped me just understand this is what it was like to be a working mom. This is what it's like to create space or, give yourself a time. There's a lady on the real estate side named Rebecca Thompson who lingered with me and was like, yes, Brenda, this is really hard. And being able to acknowledge some moments, but also challenge yourself to grow is what a lot of those people crafted for me. To an official mentor, Courtney Graham is the CMO over at Princeton Mortgage. She sat down with me right before I went on leave and really helped me craft in the craziness of going into my second baby of what do I want in my career? What am I trying to craft here? My mind at the time was like saw a million things, and she helped me take verbally process it and put it into a path of here's what you could achieve if you go this way. I credit her for a lot of things. She helped me walk through promotions, which is huge. But yeah, that's what I would kind of say. And then the sub part to that I would just call out, not only having a board of directors, trying to get someone in official capacity to meet with you monthly is what her and I did virtually, just chatted through what I was working through. She gave me her feedback from there. But the third thing is if it's not always in like an official capacity, what also looks like being a mentor and mentee to me is actually having tangible things that you could do for people. I was chatting with a lady who's at a bank right now. And when she was in between jobs, she mentioned how there's a group of people who just commented on her LinkedIn when she was let go. They just said like, hey, good luck. You're going to land someone well. And then there was the people who maybe didn't comment, but they direct messaged her and said, hey, I know this person. Let me get you in contact with the person. Hey, I know this one. Here, let me help us set a call. And they actually, rather than just liking your post or commenting your post, they said, here's how I actually can help you. And here's who I can introduce you to. And I think about
Hmm.
that a lot. How often am I just building a community that like niceties, but where am I actually like carrying someone into a new table? What that could look at events is, hey, give me an agenda or give me an attendee list. I'll look through, see what attendees I know, and I can partner you with them when you're on the site. Who can I facilitate an introduction for? And making sure that, yes, there's this world of a community of just built on like, I enjoy you as a person. And then there's a community of like, are we actually tangibly building something here and growing together and trying to make sure that
Yeah.
second happens?
I have so many things running through my head right now. First, I love the board of advisors. I've heard that term before, and I absolutely love, and just like you said, like people from all across the industry, men, women, senior leadership, young professionals, like it doesn't matter. Those fresh perspectives, those different viewpoints, all can impact your career, and having that like board of advisors that you've built a relationship with, you trust, and they trust you, like that is incredible to have and really build. The fact that you, and like for everybody listening too, like building that like board of advisors doesn't have to be formal at all. Like these are very organic relationships that have happened just like throughout your career, whether you've asked to be a mentor or you've asked to have them as a mentor, like you're still reaching out, you're taking initiative, but so many of those are such organic relationships that they've just really come to fruition, like as you've grown throughout your career and you're just building on that board of advisors. And I think that's incredible.
Yeah. I always say that like my favorite quote, they didn't ask for a favorite quote, but this is my favorite quote. And all advice is only good advice if it applies to you. And it's such a simple favorite quote, but what to me it says is like someone can think they're giving you the best piece of information ever, but it's actually only good if it applies to your life. And I think that's the nuanced on why you need different people chatting with you because their
Yeah.
advice is only good advice if it still works for your life.
I like that. It's really just building that relationship. It's all about the relationship piece, just the consistency of meeting with them and hearing viewpoints, but having that mentor relationship. I love that.
It's a huge, huge part of it. I would say, just something I'm thankful for and excited about is something I think about is probably my first events were MBA events back in 2014 and 15. I remember thinking in my head, this is the easiest place. Like the women's bathroom line is so easy to get to, like joking, like long line for the men's restroom, no line for the women's restroom. And it's been really cool to watch over the last decade that shift and change. And I've noticed this entire shift in the industry where the mortgage industry is more welcoming to young professionals, to women professionals. And you can see that through lines at the restroom to seeing how people are interacting with people on LinkedIn. And so not only is that one reason why I'm so thankful to get this award, but it also makes me super thankful for this industry to have
Mhm.
watched this narrative shift over the last decade. And I'm guessing you've probably watched that too, would be my comment back to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely think we have room to grow. We are always growing and have a ways, but no, I mean just the people that I have in my life, the amazing women mentors that I have in my life that are from the industry, both within my company and outside of my company. I mean, they have really paved the way for young professionals like us to be able to come and just the opportunities that you can have at conferences and networking and being able to actually be in front of people. That shift is definitely there. It's happening.
Cool call out. And on both sides of the industry, I would say I also have a heavy hand on the real estate side of the industry. And I can pinpoint women leaders on both sides, people like Marsha Davies who have founded, they are the voice,
Mhm.
the person at their company who said, we need this initiative. And to
Yeah.
know that we get to be the next in line after these powerhouse women's on across the housing industry who found a need and
Yeah.
said, we have a space for this. It's a huge honor.
I love it. All right, Brenna. Well, thank you so much for being with me today. Congratulations again on winning this award. And I am so excited to see you at all of the other industry events that I know I'll see you at, but have a great rest of your day.